In one of the most prestigious kingdoms of ancient Greece, a royal child was born, an heir to the throne, the son of the mighty King Laius and his young, beautiful queen, Jocasta. Yet, what should have been a joyous event was instead marked by a dark prophecy. During a sacred visit to the Oracle of Apollo at Delphi, King Laius was given a chilling revelation. His newborn son was destined to be his killer and the ruin of his entire family. Horrified by the oracle's words, the king concluded that drastic action was necessary to protect himself and his kingdom. He persuaded Jocasta that their child's life must end for the greater good. A loyal servant was ordered to take the baby to Mount Cithaeron. To ensure the infant would perish, the servant pierced the baby's feet and threaded a rope through them, hanging the boy from a tree where wild beasts would surely find him. But the servant could not bring himself to carry out the cruel deed. Instead, he handed the child to a passing shepherd. The shepherd, moved by compassion, untied the child, tended to his wounds, and named him Oedipus, meaning swollen feet. But the shepherd was poor and unable to raise a child. So he brought the baby to the childless king Polybus and Queen Merope of Corinth. Grateful for the gift, they adopted Oedipus and raised him as their own. Oedipus grew into a strong, handsome, and intelligent young man, beloved by all as the crown prince of Corinth. Yet, during a banquet, a drunken noble insulted him, claiming he was not the true heir. Disturbed, Oedipus turned to King Polybus for the truth, but the king dismissed the accusation. Unsettled and desperate for answers, Oedipus journeyed to the Oracle of Delphi. But instead of learning about his origins, he received a dreadful prophecy. He would kill his own father, marry his mother, and bring ruin to his descendants. Terrified by the vision and unwilling to harm the people he believed to be his parents, Oedipus fled Corinth to escape his fate. Wandering the roads of Greece, he came upon a crossroads where a nobleman in a chariot, accompanied by his servants, demanded he move aside. When a servant struck him, Oedipus retaliated. The confrontation escalated into a violent skirmish. With skill and strength, Oedipus killed the nobleman and his guards, unaware that the man he had slain was King Laius, his true father. Continuing his journey, Oedipus heard of a monstrous creature terrorizing the kingdom of Thebes. It was the Sphinx, a winged beast with the body of a lion and the face of a woman, who posed a deadly riddle to all who passed her rock. Failure to solve the riddle meant death. Thebes, mourning the loss of King Laius and crushed by fear, was ruled by Queen Jocasta's brother Creon. He promised Jocasta's hand and the Theban crown to whoever could defeat the Sphinx. Oedipus, still fleeing his fate, accepted the challenge. He confronted the Sphinx, who snarled her riddle. "In the morning, I'll walk on 4 legs, at noon on 2, and in the evening on 3. What am I? Without hesitation, Oedipus answered, "Man." As a child, he crawls on all 4s. As an adult, he walks on 2 feet, and in old age, he uses a cane. The Sphinx, shamed by her defeat, threw herself from the cliff. Oedipus was hailed as the savior of Thebes. In gratitude, Creon gave him the throne and Jocasta's hand in marriage. The prophecies seemed avoided, and Oedipus ruled wisely. With Jocasta, he fathered 4 children, Eteocles, Polynices, Antigone, and Ismene. Years passed, but fate, never fooled for long, stirred again. A terrible plague swept Thebes. Desperate, the people turned to Oedipus to save them once more. He sent Creon to consult the oracle, and the message from Apollo was grim. The plague will end only when the murderer of King Laius is found and cast out of the city. Oedipus, determined to uncover the truth, declared, "Whoever knows the killer's identity must come forward. If the culprit confesses, he shall be exiled, not harmed. But if he hides in this city, let him feel the wrath of the gods and mine, even if he be part of my family." Creon suggested summoning Tiresias, the old blind prophet. But Tiresias hesitated, warning that truth would only bring pain. When Oedipus accused him of betrayal and conspiracy, Tiresias snapped, "You are the killer you seek. You are the curse upon Thebes." Oedipus, furious and in disbelief, accused Creon and Tiresias of plotting to steal his crown. Creon, wounded by the accusation, defended himself. "I've never sought your throne. As your ally, I already share in its comforts without the burden of ruling." Jocasta intervened, urging Oedipus to ignore prophets and oracles. "Laius was told his son would kill him," she said, "but the child died as an infant, and Laius was killed by strangers at a crossroads." The mention of a crossroads struck Oedipus with dread. Could it be the same place where he killed the nobleman years ago? A messenger then arrived from Corinth with news. King Polybus was dead. Oedipus could now return to rule his homeland. Relieved that the prophecy had been proven false, Oedipus still feared the other part, marrying his mother. "No need to fear," said the messenger. "Polybus wasn't your real father. You were adopted. I brought you to him as a baby, given to me by a shepherd from Thebes." Jocasta's face paled. She begged Oedipus to stop searching, but he refused. The shepherd was brought forward, and under pressure, he confessed, the baby with wounded feet was Laius and Jocasta's son, left on the mountain to die. The horrible truth emerged like a thunderclap. Oedipus had unknowingly killed his father and married his mother. The prophecy had come true in every detail. Jocasta, overwhelmed by the revelation, fled to her chamber and took her own life. Oedipus burst through the doors to find her hanging. In agony, he tore the brooches from her dress and blinded himself with their pins. "Cursed be these eyes, which saw what no man should see. I blind them so I no longer face my parents in the underworld." Bloodied and broken, Oedipus stood before the people of Thebes. "I have destroyed myself. Now cast me away as the oracle commanded. I am no longer your king, I am your curse." He relinquished the throne to Creon and begged for exile. His daughter Antigone offered her hand, choosing to accompany her father in his misery. For Oedipus, her presence was a final blessing, a sign that perhaps the gods had shown him a shred of mercy. And so, the once mighty king walked blindly into exile, guided by his daughter, leaving behind a city that would forever remember the man who tried to outrun fate, but instead fulfilled it.